Welcome back, everybody, to the Breachers VRML. Apologies for that late start, just a couple technical issues as we start off our new season. But we got them all sorted out, and we're ready here for Season 4 now of Breachers VRML. And actually, here we are on not the Breachers VRML channel anymore, VRML Network, with Valor versus Acer joined. Joined here on the desk with me are Plague Doctor 13, one of our new casters, and Gravix. As we go ahead and get started with our very first map in this series between Valor and Acer, we're heading over to Arctic. A lot of history in between these two teams, most notably here, Plague Doctor. We saw Valor and Acer clash in Season 3, where Valor delivered Acer their third straight loss of the season. Back-to-back losses Acer has taken, and then they exited the postseason actually before Valor did. So should be a pretty interesting matchup. We'll see if Acer can get some revenge.
It'll be really exciting to see if they can get that revenge off, especially with some of the roster changes between both these teams, losing a good few players, some really strong players that they had to quickly fill spots for. You know, I'm interested to see how it works out with their new rosters. Also some new strategies, you know, the updates in the offseason with incendiaries and smokes getting, well, incendiaries specifically getting buffed, you know, the Knut and everything like that. The strategies that are going to be coming in here are going to be really exciting to see for this season. I've already been seeing it in some of the scrims in the offseason. Looks like Valor is going to be going for an A push here. Pushing straight in.
Look at the opening here as Stewie picks up a lot of damage, but Jekyll diving into the site catches an immediate double. Peter Griffin catching Tech9 Jr.'s Jims, takes out the ace. Ninja Tim goes down to Jims, however, and round one goes to Valor, Gravix, and well, that's an explosive start for this new team, and I'm just wondering, maybe this is the season where Acer starts to have more of those struggles that all the other regular teams have.
I mean, we saw it petering towards the end of Season 3, especially with the new roster here. They don't have all of their guys that they've had since really in the inception of Breachers VRML. So seeing this new team dynamic coming out from Acer and Valor is going to be very interesting to see how we play out. But Valor, obviously, it's favoring them. They've been working, and they now have a little bit of a buff heading into their first game and their second round of Season 4.
Tremendous opening there, Plague Doctor, as Valor buying in here. You can see the Vezin, the RCP, some Omens as well. They're spending, but also Acer as well. I mean, we see triple Omens coming out from their side. And I don't know, is the early rifle a good investment, do you think?
I think it's a good investment here for Valor, specifically just because of how they play. They do go for these meta pushes. They do try to get some early picks off. So if they can use that rifle to their advantage and not lose it very quickly, it can be used to great effect, especially with their droning here. They unfortunately did lose Jekyll immediately on that window from a great peek by LFT. So they're going to be down numbers immediately, but they can push straight through Green Hallway if they want. There's no utility here, which is really surprising to see.
Tech9 Jr. out in Green Hallway. Cafeteria holding down the fort for their team. We did see LFT catch an immediate pick onto Jekyll, and it was a good start to the round for Acer as that RCP was dropped immediately. It has been recovered by Stewie, though. We're looking at a bit of a weakened, well, I would argue a weakened Valor, as one of their most powerful players, Sleetso, has moved to a different team this season, but they appear to be doing just fine without them, as Jims finds Tech9 Jr. Wall opened up from Jim, and Valor on the move here.
Valor looks to actually be calling a rotate here. I saw Crimson, Peter Griffin here, calling the rotate over onto the other wall, onto B here, into the cafeteria, trying to split these players apart. Woo gets a great flick off on the ace, trying to get the kill off on Ninja as well. Ninja Tim takes down 2 players with the Spectral here, very respectable. Now a 2v1 here. Hotline having to take down 2 Valor players here with EMP down. It's going to be a tough spot to be in here. Especially Stewie here from Valor still holding on to a rifle. I mean, what do you think the plan is here, Bob? Do you think it's to push up, or do you think just recover a weapon and then back up?
It's a tough call for Acer here. Hotline, I think, is going to go for this. They're going to try and get a pick. Oh, they fire a little bit too early. They catch Peter Griffin, though. Now it's the real challenge. Stewie is that Vezin player. Hotline is the captain of Acer for a reason, but it doesn't matter, as Stewie will swing out, finds the kill on Hotline, gives Valor a 2-0 lead. You can see Gravix, they're confident.
Oh, they're very confident. We can see it in just the way that they're pushing in here. We've seen them, especially on that first round, we saw them with a very confident push. We saw a 2K with a dive straight into sight. Very powerful to counter Acer's gameplay here of a lot of sitting, a lot of waiting, and a lot of roaming. Obviously, we did see almost towards the end here, people like Tech9 who have their game sense and have their aim up being able to get the kills on people like Peter Griffin, who just weren't ready for that swing, but we immediately see it turn around as soon as he peaked, Valor was ready to get the return and got them their second point.
And I think it was especially that Vezin play we were talking about from Valor, being able to have that Vezin on the last person in the round. They didn't lose in the point, they didn't overcommit and lose the rifle immediately, which let them have a great gun advantage once EMP was down, you know, going through, able to do the hip fire one tap to the head, have the confidence to be able to one tap from that distance, rather than worrying about having to get two with a Spectral.
I was going to mention the Econ in just a second here, because now we do see Valor going all out on a full buy, a couple of Vezins, a couple of Maruis. While we do see some rifles coming out from Acer, definitely not to the caliber that we're seeing on Valor, Bob. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out and could give them an advantage heading here into round 3.
And if you're new here or returning from maybe Season 3 or before, those Maruis now a much more common pick for these teams, as it had been significantly buffed in a patch over in Season 3. There's a lot of big changes that have gone on in Season 3, and then even in the postseason as well. Teams can now use, and players can now use their own custom reticle, as we see Ninja Chim opening up the round with a pick onto Jims, but Jekyll diving in with the double. EMP now getting planted. Tech9 Jr. looks to push that and will deny it, but it's now a 2 versus 3 with Stewie and Wu looking to pick up the pieces here for Valor. Tech9 with one, looks to make it a double, and it doesn't happen. Wu manages to keep their team alive here, but they're in trouble. 1 versus 2. It's an SMG and a Marui with a minute left on the clock.
Tough situation to be in here on the peak, especially getting info peeked out on the hallway. Now they know where he is. They can double push if they want. EMP is down, so he really needs to try to get some kills off here. He does take out LFT, but he doesn't know where the other player is. He's kind of a guessing game here to figure out if he can flick onto him. They're both going to barely miss each other on these peaks. And the Ace gets the kill out there on Wu. Finishing out the round, you know, Gravix, when looking at that EMP plant, if Valor's going to go for that standard push, you think it was the player there to really open up the walls and give Acer more peeks out?
Opening the areas while going for a plant isn't necessarily the best idea. It's unorthodox, it could work, but we see it happen there. It's not necessarily going to be the best idea because, like you said, we see that opportunity for Acer to get even more angles on the pushing Valor, and that's exactly what we saw happen. We saw Tech9 come in there with the 2K and that EMP plan as soon as possible, and it kind of left the rest of Valor stranded away from the EMP as to where they were in a disadvantaged spot in a 2v1, and it didn't necessarily work out. And if we look at Eco, that tanks their Eco a little bit as well, as we now see SMGs coming out and a near full buy coming out from Acer with some great util, which we did see being used in the last round to their advantage, especially those smoke grenades by the EMP to mask Tech9 right into that push.
I also want to comment on the positioning there from the Ace. It was really a battle of reaction speed between them and Wu, and the Ace set themselves up for success playing that angle, not getting too over aggressive. That's exactly the kind of mentality that Acer need to focus on here. Well, it's certainly been a tough start for them, as they are still around down to Valor. Jim's going to look to clear out those double trips, but Acer starting to find their footing a little bit here. And we'll see if they can continue to keep up this pace and give themselves... Right now, it could be a 4-2 lead, but Ninja Tim opening up with a nice kill onto Jekyll. We have a minute 45 on the clock.
Let's see, I think one thing that Acer really can capitalize on here is knowing that Valor is typically going to be going for these meta pushes. They know they can, centralize all of their utility on one point typically because of how Valor plays. It's a pretty well-known thing here. And actually, it looks like Wu picks up a nade from Acer as they threw it, but didn't actually activate it. Some free utility there. Acer still has all 5 of their players up here, able to push up as much as they want, really, with that smoke down. Looks like they're trying to capitalize on this opportunity. Push up and get any kills off they can. LFT is all the way pushed up with his Vezin. He gets killed by Jims there, which drops an important rifle there for Valor if they can get it off. EMP is starting to be planted, trying to bait it out to get some utility out. Tech9 gets a great kill off there on Wu, pushing up to the box. Tough situation for Valor to be in here, especially now only 2 players versus 4. Jims does get the kill off there. Some great work with that Viper to take down 2 players already.
Tried to have a go at it, but Ninja Tim was there to get that kill and tie up the game, giving Acer their second round here on their defensive half, and it's been a solid comeback these previous rounds. Gravix, they're picking up some rifles, they're getting some utility. I will say, once that utility has been expended in that previous round, it left Valor in kind of a tough position because they couldn't push in off of any of their utility.
Yeah, it seems like Valor has been using their utility a lot to try to get into these spaces. We see a lot of those incendiary grenades, and we see a lot of those smoke grenades trying to let them get into the spaces, which Acer is now just kind of waiting out, especially with that superior positioning you were talking about, which is letting them get the angles that they need to get around that utility and still take out a couple of players and defuse Valor's push.
It's been great to see the pushes here from Valor and seeing Acer, adapt in real time to the pushes that Valor is taking. They haven't had too many repeat floors so far, and so seeing how Acer is going to deal with now, second time they've been on this floor, able to see, okay, Valor pushed from, the front door last time by B. Will Valor try to adapt and go to somewhere else, or will they just try to push their advantage and go in again? Now, both teams nearly on a full buy, but actually both having one person not on a full buy. Looks like Peter Griffin over from Valor sacrificing a lot of money to put a rifle in someone else's hands. Looks like they are going to be pushing A here, actually, which is surprising, honestly. I would think they might go for B again, just trying to push it, but it looks like they're going to be trying to go for it. Not a lot of utility down from Acer on this point.
Keep in mind that the last time they tried to push A, it didn't actually work out too well for Valor. Jekyll with a very, very aggressive push. Dare I say a little bit too aggressive, as they're immediately picked by Acer. We see LFT over on the roam looking to make a pest of themselves and try and throw off the Valor offense even more than they already are. Minute and a half as LFT slowly makes their way and could find some damage here, but Hotline, in the meantime, finds Jims.
It's been a tough thing for Valor here because actually they did have a drone check the backline, but LFT was just far enough to not get hit out. And I think Wood is going to get killed here. He does not check the back, unfortunately. Now Stewie is sandwiched between all of these players. Takes down 2, but gets taken down by Hotline. Tough situation to be in for Valor here. I think they've been sandwiched a lot. Gravix, what do you think of the drone work here? I feel like maybe it's a little bit rough around the edges.
Yeah, we're not necessarily seeing the right areas coming out of the drone. Acer doing a great job of kind of hiding from that drone, but it's really, they're not getting enough around with the drone, in my eyes. They're not getting into where they need to get into to try to find their players, and they're not trying to see out the players hidden in the corners like we saw LFT do, which kind of let them somewhat roam and set up that pincer maneuver that trapped Stewie towards the end there. And that all just kind of helped contribute to their downfall, as we now see Acer up 3-2, and their econ doing pretty well as well. We see a lot of utility coming out from them here. Or same with Valor, who's also now on an almost full buy. Jim's picking up a shotgun there. I'm pretty sure that's the Canucks. So Going to be interesting to see how that plays out. A very different strategy we see coming out. Haven't seen play that yet, Bob, but it's going to be interesting to see for sure.
Hey, don't doubt
Valor, unfortunately,
the effectiveness of a shotgun because they are quite useful in this new meta, and if gyms can close the distance, it could be a kill in their hands. Even at medium range, the Knut is a quite lethal gun, but Acer have a bunch of rifles, so it's going to be difficult to close the distance if you're gyms. We'll see if they can make it work. 2 minutes on the clock. Here we are on the halftime round. This first map has really kind of zoomed by, and we'll see if Acer can bring that 4-2 lead home, or if Valor are going to tie it up heading into the second half.
it's really rough for Valor here. You know, not having any Maruis or Vezins, you really have to get some good gunplay in and try to isolate these Acer players. I think Acer is playing this very well, not really having too many players who are off-site or, you know, who are vulnerable, except for, it looks like Stewie does take down LFT, which will give them a Vezin if they can go claim it, but Tech9 looks to get the refrag immediately, gets taken down as well. Looks like Valor maybe going for an A push here, actually. They do take down 2 of these players. Now they've both claimed rifles. Much better for Valor now. Jims is actually waiting outside the point, looking to maybe bait out some util with a plant. 2v5 here for Acer. It's not looking great. Baiting out some util here. Looks like Acer is not bothering blocking off that plant. Plant is down. Ninjatim takes down Peter and Jekyll. Ace takes down Wu. Suddenly a 2v2 here. Stewie takes on Ninjatim. Now a 1v2. A great few kills there from Ninjatim before getting denied. If you're the Ace here, you can't save. You really just have to try to commit to a push here, but what do you push? Turning your back to the gym there is kind of rough. Trying to push out in the green. Both players in gym. He has a long way to go if he wants to get this off, and now they have, you know, the sound cues here. They're just watching it. And the Ace tried to get that push off, just barely couldn't get it off, and Valor ties it up to 3-3.
Beautiful. Beautiful teamwork by Stewie and Jims there to give the tie to Valor. It was a really unfortunate round for Acer there, Graphics. I mean, they lost so many of their players early on, and, you know, Ninjatim locked in, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, Ninjatim with those wallbangs almost had it in the end there, but unfortunately just the early losses for Acer did not end up working in their favor. They weren't able to kind of clutch it out there. Did give Valor the tie. We're back at a fresh slate now. No econ for any teams. Everybody's running on a Spectral. Little to no util. So we're going to be coming back to basics here. Basic gunplay to see who can kind of gain the advantage in this second round here.
Yeah, I think, you know, when I talked about that earlier about Valor trying to isolate people and take them out, I think they did that to great effect. You know, taking out the roamer who was in cafeteria, then taking out the person who tried to push the vent. They were able to claim rifles really early here. Pistol round, though, you know, we're back to even footing. It could go either way now. 3-3 players trading rounds back and forth. There's no real front runners right now. There's no definite outcome that can really be planned, I feel.
Perfect for our season start here. A nice, intense battle between Acer and Valor. Remember, this is going to be kind of a grudge match. Valor, in the previous season, did manage to defeat Acer, delivered that third Acer loss in a row. It was a tough season for Acer, but they're looking to have a return to form. And so far, they've shown a lot of promise. Peter Griffin catches a lot of damage onto LFT, but LFT caught a lot of damage onto Peter Griffin. Walls opened up into Site B, a minute and a half to go on the clock. Hotline looking to rotate, toss that EMP over to their teammate as the attack is going to be on the B corner, and smokes are tossed. Here comes the util dump from both sides. Hotline will find Peter Griffin, but that incendiary is just preventing the EMP from being planted.
Stewie gets the kill there on LFT on the backline, which is really good, but he can push up, but unfortunately he gets caught there by Hotline. 2v4 here, now 1v4 here for Valor's. Hotline claims another kill, looking to push in from the other side. Wu having to fight a battle on 3 fronts here between all the walls. Does get taken down by Tech9. You know, very tough battle there for Valor. I did want to talk about the Acer droning there was really good, actually, checking most of the angles, checking common utility spots. You know, it's the kind of droning we want to see from a lot of these top teams.
And that's the kind of droning we didn't necessarily see from Valor, which I think was a decently sized factor that contributed to them tying up that second half instead of coming out on top. Acer, with their push, I do want to talk about that, was phenomenal. They popped that wall at just the right time. They had the roamer counter as soon as they were there with Hotline. Overall, they didn't push in too aggressively. They held their angles, they held their sight lines, and then they got in as soon as they found that opening. Finished off. Very, very great attacking gameplay from Acer here.
Been quite a back and forth on map number 1 here. Map 1 of potentially 3. Remember, new season, new rules, and that means that overtime has been enabled here for Breachers VRML. And it's going to be very exciting. How cool would it be to go to overtime here on our very first game of the season? That would just be so poetic. But in any case, round number 8 as Valor looking to bring back their defensive pace here as a frag is tossed. And actually, unfortunately for Hotline, it went a little bit too far.
There's actually a split push happening here from Acer with Tech9, V-Ace, and LFT all pushing in on A rather than B. It looks like it is a bit of a distraction from Hotline and Ninja Tim over there, trying to split the Valor players off from the push here. It looks like Jims might be watching it just in case there is a split push. I'm curious, you know, now we do have Jims, probably heard that door open. 3 players pushing in here. Jim is right there. He sees the weapon, but Tech9 takes him down. They're quickly pushing up now. Element of Surprise is gone. Valor did rotate over to A. I think it was too quiet for their tastes. Looks like we do have LFT pushing straight in, getting taken out by some great shots from Stewie there. And a great blind fire from Stewie taking out Ninja Tim. Getting some info peeks off, trying to get the 3K here. Hotline takes down Peter Griffin as Wu takes out Hotline. Jekyll takes out Tech9. Ace takes down Jekyll. Now 2v1. However, the Ace is full health here. Stewie has his work cut out for him to get it off.
Poor Stewie. They had such a good start to that round too, with 2 picks with that spectral. Held the corner very, very well, but unfortunately for them, the Ace had a lot of health. They had full health, to be specific, and they had an Omen as well, so it's a bit of a recipe for disaster in the case of Valor there. But we're starting to see Acer find their footing here, Graphics. They've got that 2-round lead. They're 1 round off securing match point here on round 1. Are we starting to see maybe Valor lose that steam that they had at the start?
I think so. That's where my head's at. We see Acer finally finding their footing. Maybe they weren't super ready with their new team, but it seems like their attacking side on this Arctic here is a lot stronger than their defensive side. They haven't dropped an attacking round yet, knock on wood. But the way that they've been pushing, the way that they've been holding their angles, and now with their econ boost playing into that, they now have most members on full buys. Tech9 with the SMG still, and we see Valor with close to a full buy, but Wu still sitting on just that pistol, and not much econ left as we head into round number 9 here.
Looks like we do have Acer trying to push in here onto A. Split push again. It looks like they're kind of favoring these split pushes just to make sure they can really get in. Droning in here, but it looks like Drone is taken out immediately. They're going to commit to, I believe, an A push here, maybe on Kitchen. Fairly rough economy over on Valor there. I think they're just trying to buy rifles and get anything off they can. They are on defense on Arctic here, so it is very possible for them to get this off as long as they get some good gameplay in. Bit of a waste of utility pretty early, actually. Peter Griffin takes out Tech9 as LFT gets the refrag on the Kitchen there. Jekyll trying to get the refrag here on LFT, but it looks like they're going to be pushing through. Definitely an A push here from Acer. They're going to foam the wall. Rough situation for Valor to be in here. They have one player who's split completely off the point, and also A is just a rough point in general to defend, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's... I mean, we see Jekyll on the flank. They actually secured a Marui for their teammate. Extra rifle there is going to be a good acquisition for Valor. It's a 4 versus 4 with 1:10 on the clock, and this is the problem with Acer's push here, is that it's taking way, way, way too long. So now Valor can really dictate the pace of this round. They've got a lot of utility here, and they're just going to put more and more pressure on this Acer offense. I wonder, maybe Gravix casted the caster's curse here, but LFT determined to not make that happen as they find Jekyll. And 40 seconds on the clock. LFT attempting to catch their second kill here. Frag is tossed, and we're going to see that EMP push in. LFT on the charge, but they will go down to Jims. Did not have any support. Ninja Tim caught Jims, but they were refragged by Wu, and it's now a 2 versus 2. The unfortunate thing for Acer is that the EMP is down in the site. Stewie and Wu don't need to push, but we're now into a 1v1 between Hotline and Wu. It's suddenly looking very doable here for Acer, but there's time on the clock. Can Wu stall Hotline in time? 5 seconds left. They're going to look to push. Hotline gets it off, but Wu finding the kill to give the round win to Valor. That was a tremendous game of patience there by Wu.
The amount of decision making that had to have gone through those two players' minds at the end of that 1v1, at the end of that round. The decision of, do I plant? Do I push the plant? Do I swing? Do I stay? Do I peek? Do I go for the 1v1? Do I try to hold out for time? Everything that they had to do along with executing. Huge props to both those guys. Insane 1v1, insane 2v2, and insane round from all of them. The push onto A site, very hard to do. A great defense from Valor. They had the util advantage going in towards the back half there. Very, very good gameplay on both sides. We now see the score at 4-5, a little shakier for Acer, losing that 2-point lead almost towards the end of the map here, Plague. It's getting pretty down to the wire.
Valor is down a player now, however. Actually, they lose their IGL.
Uh-oh.
Peter Griffin losing their IGL here is kind of rough for Valor. At least they aren't on offense, but losing a player really, really unfortunate here. It looks like he does come back just in time to get some utility here. But it looks like Acer will most likely be going for probably a meta push here. I don't know what they can really do here. The economy is looking a lot more even than it normally would be, I feel, at this time, just because these teams are trading rounds back and forth. They both went for full buys. Wu came out on top here, but I'm curious what the idea for the push here is. Probably an obvious push from Acer just because of the sites here. I almost think they should have gone for an off meta, though.
Well, they didn't have the best luck with an off meta in the previous round, Jims. You can't be doing something like that. Tech9 Jr. finds the kill onto Wu as a frag is tossed, but in a bad position. And it won't catch any damage onto anybody. But a big util dump from both teams. We see a smoke, incendiary is tossed. Tech9 Jr. goes down to Jims, who finds their second kill. They're hungry to put that shotgun to use. 1.5 minutes on the clock as we're into a 3 versus 4. Jims is going to get aggressive here. They're in the fire. They're pushed right into Hotline. Oh my goodness, an S-tier frag. So early in the season as Jekyll will find Hotline. And it is now a 2 versus 3. Heartbreaking for Acer as it looked promising at the start. But the Ace and Ninja Tim may try and go for this.
They unfortunately don't have EMP. It's isolated on the other side of the wall breach here, leaving Valor able to, dictate how soon they can push. Going for a pretty aggressive push around here. Jekyll does take out Ninja Tim, and then Stewie claims the ace. Valor now tying it up, and also they have some great economy going now just because of that win and being able to have 3 players alive. It's looking pretty bad for Acer here.
Score's now tied, and what a round to do it, gentlemen. I can't even say how insane the frag was. The 2 shotgun kills coming out of Jims were so hype. The roamer doing crazy work with the shotgun there. Acer just not ready for it. The meta push not working out. As you had said earlier, Plague, the off meta push could have been the play there. Obviously, the off meta not doing the most for them. Valor was just ready for that exact counter, and it worked out very, very well for them. Now putting them on an even level on Econ. You see everybody has full util, and Acer now put on the back foot in Econ, and probably the back foot in morale as well as we head into round 5, or round 11. Score is 5-5. This could be the decider here.
It's a rough situation to be in for Acer because now they kind of nickel and dime their way to a round loss there because they tried to full buy multiple times. They might not have been able to afford next round because of buying as much as they did. It's going to be pretty rough. Looks like they are going to be going for a hatch push here with Ninja Tim coming up around the side here. Might catch Jekyll off guard if he's not careful. But I feel like a hatch commit here is a great pick for Acer as long as they do drone out the top floor. Valor's very spread out right now. They can't have a very quick response to this hatch. I feel like it may be a bit of a blunder here, especially since Valor is hearing no sound cues, and if Acer was pushing on the front door, there would 100% be sound cues here as Acer pushes straight in, and they have point claim immediately. Stewie takes down Tech 9 as Wu takes down the Ace. Jins is going to go down to an incendiary. Now a 3v3, but Acer is in a tough situation here as they do get utiled out as Wu takes out Hotline with a great grenade. You know, Bob, what do you do if you're Acer here? You can't really get the plant down.
It was a really unfortunate hatch drop for them as LFT is going to look to push out. Maybe find Peter Griffin with that, but they're in the corner and there's not a whole lot left in their pace here, and Wu drops the double to make it a 6-5 game. There's a reason that one of our casters, Martini, says that hatch drop plays like that almost never work. And in the case of Acer, it actually did look like it might have worked there, Gravix, but they had some pretty unfortunate positioning. I know Hotline took a corner and S-tier frag from Valor cost them their life, but it was an interesting round in that Valor now on 6-5, and the only hope for Acer here to take map 1 is to win it in overtime.
Yeah, and that's going to be tough to do, especially if they go for another risky off-meta hatch push, which I doubt after the results of that round, but you never know. We do see them a level above once again for this setup, so it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do. With hatch pushes, it's going to be tough to get good positioning. As you said, taking those corners that could lead you into frags. We saw 2 phenomenal frags going out. Took out 2 members of Acer. Didn't necessarily get the positioning they wanted to be able to get in and get EMP. That's one thing we saw as well. We just saw EMP go down immediately, which put them... Maybe them had to play for kills there. So, just unfortunate positioning. Hatch pushes, never really the best way to go, especially in a tight scenario like this.
Peter Griffin.
There's some great information now there. Go ahead, Bob.
Oh, it's the same. Peter Griffin got that drone. 2 minutes here in the final round. What could be the final round, Plague, as, well, if Acer wins this, we're going to overtime. And they've got the rifles, they've got the util. All that's left to see is if they can bring it all the way home.
Valor really needs to hold down some patience, I feel. If you can just pick the Acer players off one at a time as they're trying to come through the points, it's going to work out a lot better than trying to ego peek them, I feel. You know, especially on this point, you have the time to wait on these peaks as Ninja Tim does take out Stewie as he was hugging that wall a little too close. They can't afford to wait too long, but I just feel like pushing out is going to be a bad idea here. Peter Griffin is actually stuck in green hallway now. I'm surprised Acer isn't trying to push to take him down. It'd be a pretty quick kill to get off, I feel. Looks like we do have 2 Valor players roaming out here near green hallway. 2 on 2 here. I'm surprised to see this very spread out push.
It's making me worried here for Acer, as they only have 55 seconds left on the clock. Jims and Wu both holding down B, but they're going to have to push in soon here if they want to have enough time to develop their push properly and get that EMP planted. But Valor doing their best to stall for as long as possible. They only have a smoke left, whereas Acer have a bit more utility in their pockets. Hotline makes entry now as Tech9 Jr. will find Peter Griffin. Jims catches LFT. There's the smoke from Valor. Tech9 pushes in, finds one, but is refragged by Wu, and it's now down to a 2 versus 3. Ninja Tim looking to get that EMP planted. Here comes Jekyll, and Ninja Tim is almost caught. Jekyll looks for the push, finds one, looks to make it 2, but Ninja Tim catches that refrag instead, and it's up to Wu to bring it home for Valor here. Otherwise, we're going into overtime here on map number 1.
I think if I was Wu here, I wouldn't drop my gun so much. I'm watching him push up here on these players, but he's dropping his gun to the floor. You're going to get peeked out if you do that. I think having your gun up is going to be just what you need to do here. He gets the double flick! He's going to get this off if he can just get the defuse.
2, 3!
He gets it off!
Oh my goodness! A tremendous opening, and Valor are here to stay. They do not want Acer to get their revenge in this match. A tremendous opening for Valor. Ooh, well, that was certainly an exciting first map, Plague and Graphics. I mean, we see Valor taking the early momentum here with a 7-5 game. We're currently getting ready to head into our second map here, but let me hear some thoughts. We'll start with you, Plague. What are you thinking?
You know, it's just such an exciting matchup to see here. You know, trading rounds back and forth. I was a little scared for Valor there at the end because of that split, but I think they utilized their players really well. And with a huge clutch there at the end, it was fantastic to see. You know, Graphics with that, you know, that game at the end. What do you think?
that clutch, I just want to say that clutch from Wu was insane. Some of the best breachers I've seen. The boom, boom, one and done. And the plan at the last, or the defuse at the last second. It was just so good. But we're heading into a hideout now. And that is going to be very interesting to see how that shakes things up. Obviously, somewhat similar to Ship in its close quartersness. But there's a lot of different angles here, a lot of different breachables you can push here, and a lot of different strategies we're going to see coming out from both sides here.
And I will say, I believe this was Valor's map choice, which is kind of surprising because in the past we have seen, in Season 3, Valor banned Hideout a lot. So maybe we're to see them try to get this off, try to really, get some plays up here. Maybe they've been working a lot in the offseason to get their game up on this.
It's possible. A lot of teams here, and I believe especially Acer and Valor, do like to keep the practice up during the offseason. So maybe Valor have been working a lot on Hideout, as Blake has stated. But here comes an immediate drop in, and LFT is overwhelmed, but it doesn't matter because the Ace was there to support. And already Valor are off to a rocky start. Stewie manages to get a little bit of momentum back as they find LFT. And it is a 3 versus 3, and that happened all in the first 30 seconds of the round.
Fantastic to see from both these teams, and especially Valor, not crumbling under the pressure, still trying to push it and take out the player who was low in storage. A lot of teams who are don't have it in them as much would probably try to push back a lot more, try not to, claim that. But Valor knew they had to push in, had to claim the advantage while they had it. Wall's about to be blown. Tech9 gets some huge wall bangs off here. Wu nearly going down to a player who drops Ash, getting chased. Peter Griffin takes on Ninja Tim and Tech9. 2v1 here, but Hotline has more health than both of them combined as he takes down Peter. He's getting pretty low on ammo, though. Wu gets info peeked out, but takes out Hotline. What a clutch from Valor.
Look at the read here. It was just absolutely perfect. Wrong button, but there you can see Wu dropping the double kill that won them the previous map. And then you saw another kill that won them the first round of Hideouts. So, I mean, it's a good opening again for Valor. It looked a little bit shaky, Gravix, but they found their footing.
Yeah, the initial push there from the hatch, the overwhelming, would have been a good idea if there were just a few more Acer players in that lobby area. Didn't necessarily work out for them. They ended up getting overwhelmed, but they were able to get out and then readjust their push strategy, get a couple of stragglers. We saw Hotline almost get in there, but the refrags were coming out. And then Wu with that insane raid at the end, and giving Valor this first point and showing us here that they've been working on their hideout. And Acer now probably a little bit worried if they know Valor wasn't as confident on it last season, and they're coming in pretty strong right now.
Valor continuing their trend here of going for a full buy. They're trying to push the advantage as long as they have it. Going for a Vezin and a Marui here. RCP, their drone gets denied immediately. They're going to have to try to go in blind if the second drone gets taken down. They know there's at least one player in garage. And LFT takes on Jekyll on a very aggressive push. I think Jekyll here maybe going a bit too aggressive with these pushes occasionally. Maybe to see that kind of bite them in the butt here as Jims takes out Hotline, as Hotline takes out Stewie. I believe one of them does get flashed out as Tech9 continuing trying to push up, does pick up a weapon here. Does have Marui, nearly takes out Peter on a blind fire. Peter Griffin, a 1v3 here. Rough situation to be in for Valor. I feel like the play might be just trying to get a pick here, but not push in.
It's a really, really bad start here for Valor as one of their rifles has been recovered by Tech9 Jr. Probably the worst case scenario. Well, second worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is if Peter Griffin goes down here and also drops that Vezin and heal for Acer. But at this point, I think the play is probably to just save. Keep that Vezin, keep that heal. I know LFT may catch the pick here onto Peter Griffin. And Peter's just going to look to see if they can get a kill here. Oh my goodness, the gun down as they look to jiggle, but LFT finds some damage here, and Peter is making me very, very nervous as we're like teetering on the edge of Peter going down. 50 seconds on the clock, and I'm just waiting for LFT to catch some sort of nasty angle. Peter's gonna push, but Tech9 Jr. finds it. I gotta be honest, Plague, I don't think that was the right play.
Peter there, much braver person than I, but I just feel like saving there would have been just a really smart play. You know, maybe it feels bad in the moment to save, you know, waiting on the roof or something for a minute, but that means you get to keep a Vezin because, you know, they all full bot. There was no room to save at this point now. They have to save. They can't buy. Meanwhile, Acer's free to kind of run away with it.
Definitely not the best play on Valor's end. The save would have done them wonders in the econ now, but Acer has an insane economy boost, and they're able to full buy with Tech9, LFT, and Ace still having like 2k credits left over each. So definitely tipping the scales there in Acer's favor. Valor with their push, not able to break through that great setup defense that Acer had. They had all the spots covered in Garage. They were ready for that meta push. Just not working out for Valor. We're going to see him probably head up to the hatch now. And we're going to see how it plays out, see if they find a little more success. But this rifle, these rifles could be a huge turning point for Acer.
Clean
just
slates
feel like
for both of the teams' seasonal history as we're starting to get into the... Excuse me, we are at the start of the season, so it's not... We don't have any statistics to go off of yet, so it's these teams' time to start padding the stats, getting some round wins in here, but we'll see if Acer can bounce back again. They already claimed their first round against Valor. Bit of a misplay from Valor that was capitalized by Acer, and now it's their opportunity to turn things around, but as Graphics pointed out, not a whole lot going on eco-wise here for Valor. Hotline might get caught here. No, they turn around for the collateral. Beautiful. And a triple from Hotline as Peter Griffin finds two of their own. And it is now a 2 versus 3 with a minute 20 to go.
I do want to compliment the droning here from Valor. Much better droning than we saw before. You know, they were able to get a lot of utility out here as Tech9 takes out gyms with some cheeky trip mines. I didn't even know those were there.
No, who puts those
Peter
there?
Griffin. Peter Griffin nearly takes out the ace, but the problem is he had his gun down, so he had to take the time to bring it up to Ace's head. That's a problem that I think a lot of players are having, you know, that I'm seeing. Even in the top teams, people are running with their guns pointed straight at the floor rather than, you know, if you just run barrel point at least at Hepa, you can at least get some hits off, but you have to bring it all the way up in order to get the headshot. I just think it's a lost opportunity for people to just make one adjustment to get more damage off.
An adjustment that should be made, of course, but I don't think it was really the crux of that match. Acer with a lot of just the general play from both teams. We saw some great kills from Peter Griffin. We saw some great kills from Hotline there. It was a lot of just gameplay tech, your aim, everything that played into that. And yeah, I guess getting your barrel up could have helped project that a little bit more and helped push Valor to a little bit further and trying to get that point, but I think Acer kind of had that with the 3K there from the start.
I really have to say, I don't think Hotline should have survived that wall opening, but you can just see they are a incredibly talented player, and there's a reason that they're on Acer here, because the wall opens up behind them, they've got people there, and Hotline turns around and finds a collateral, and then a third kill before finally going down. So, just, you love to see it at this level of Breach's VRML. This is the kind of stuff these players are capable of. It's just incredible. In any case, 2 minutes to go on the clock. Valor running a couple of RLs here. We haven't seen the RL get too much use in this series so far. Maybe Valor can make use of it here.
Acer actually using both of their frags immediately upon round start, along with Valor. They really were trading nades back and forth here. I'm honestly surprised to not see Peter Griffin on flank watch. Now, typically, I would see him over on flank watch. He's actually pushing Garage, takes out LFT, but he doesn't know Tech9 is behind the box. Does get refrag there, but he is taken out. 3v4 here for Acer. They're going to have to put in some work to defend this point. Valor is looking to push in here on B. EMP is dropped. The Ace is watching very carefully on this hallway, trying to make sure no one can come through without being noticed. Jekyll looking to push in on the laundry room here. Acer faced with a tough situation to get this off. Wall's about to open up directly next to Ace. He's going to get taken down immediately. Jekyll looks to push in. Valor could pretty easily get a plant off here if they wanted to.
No fear from Jekyll as they catch Hotline, but Ninja Tim on the refrag, and well, they've certainly got their work cut out for them. 1 versus 3 as that EMP is getting planted. They catch the head of Woo, but Stewie will find the kill to make it a 2-2 game. And, well, Valor, they're bringing it back here, Gravix. They're not out of it yet.
Their push there, phenomenal. Textbook, and it works. Acer, not necessarily ready, especially on that wallbang towards the end there. And it just kind of helped propel them to that second point. Their droning, as you had mentioned earlier, Plague, I think we see is getting a lot better, which shows the amount of practice Valor has been putting in to this hideout. We saw last season, as you guys had said, that hideout was a map banned a lot by Valor. We're now seeing it being their pick, and we see it, and we now see why. Because of this new droning and these newfound techniques that they're putting into play here, that's now tied up 2-2.
I'm just really excited to see these two teams play right now. You know, a lot of people, I saw the votes on the website. Some people were kind of voting on Acer winning here, but they're trading back and forth. There's not really a clear frontrunner. With Valor claiming map 1, the pressure is really on for Acer to get some clutch rounds off here, especially starting on defense on Hideout. If they don't get some good rounds off here, they're going to put themselves at a disadvantage.
They've won it. You can tell that they've won it, and they're working for it, but they just need to lock in a few more rounds here against Valor. If you're just joining us, 5-7 was the score of map number 1, and it went to Valor instead of Acer. Acer's going to look to have a return to form here, but it has been a pretty unforgiving matchup for them so far. Hotline, here's the audio cue from the drone. We'll see if they check their corner. Oh, they do. I think, they 100% do. Hotline in the smoke when they run out. Catch 2, 3. I don't think they did see Hotline after all. And that is not good droning there. You missed the corner player, and it's going to devastate the Valor offense in this round. And Hotline continues to be the thorn in the side of this Valor offense. They catch a 4th before finally going down to Stewie. And that was only when they had an incendiary at their feet, and they couldn't go anywhere else. But absolute devastation here, Plague.
I think Valor's play here again, I'm going to say it again, just save. You have the round economy here. You're at 2-2, you'll go down 1, you can get the tie again. It's a lot better than Nickel and Diamond Ray to a loss, You have Wu who's going to be able to afford, you have Jim's going to be able to afford. I think Peter will be able to afford. It's kind of a question there on Jekyll, but if you go down 4 or 5 rifles, you're going to be in a tough situation here. I think swallowing your pride and saving is going to be the play, especially with 2 stims and a Marui. That's like $4,000 in his hands right now.
Yeah, got to keep the util here, got to keep the rifle. We did see Peter Griffin try earlier in this map to try and get some kills with a rifle on his stim, and that didn't end too well for them. So it looks like Stewie has learned from those mistakes, but I gotta see it again. I know he played it before, but look at this. Perfectly tucking in the corner, swings out, catches all 3. I saw the drone turn, and I thought that they saw Hotline, but they did not, Gravix, and they paid dearly for that.
Yeah, I had just complimented on them on their droning, and it seems to have not been the play. Possibly a little bit of caster's curse, but Hotline doing a phenomenal job of just shutting down Valor. That shut them down the entire time and forced them into a save. So just having that positioning and having that gunplay to be able to go boom, 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 and then find a fourth a little bit later before being forcibly going down. I think he could have had the ace there if there was no incendiary at his feet. So just goes to show how skilled Acer is, as they have been playing for most of Breacher's lifespan. Valor's still doing a great job keeping up, and they still have a very high chance of coming in here. Still 3-2 heading into round 6, the last round of the half. Still very possible. Econ looking good on both teams. The save was definitely the right play from Stewie there. Overall, still very, very close.
See, I really can't tell who's going to win here. We have pretty even economy on both sides. A lot of defensive utility, obviously, from Acer, trying to make sure that these players can't push in. Hotline has been getting some great use out of the roams here. We'll see if Valor tries to cancel it out here. I feel like the play for Valor, maybe, because of the amount of roams, is maybe just to push straight into the point if they can. If they can claim superior numbers on a point rather than letting, themselves get flanked. Great thing to do. Especially with these split points on top 4, Acer doesn't really know where Valor's going to push in for the first, 30 seconds. They can't mobilize players over because they won't know what's going to happen. So I feel like until that wall blows, Valor has time to position and get ready to push in, some good smokes and incendiaries, even a good flash here. I feel like it's really going to turn the tide of this map.
Somebody threw an RL. Somebody threw an RL into the site. Not sure who did that, but there's the incendiary that Plague was talking about. Now there's some real estate being blocked off. A frag is tossed out. Smokes, another frag toss, and here comes another smoke. Big utility dump from both teams. This Peter Griffin looking to get in and get that EMP planted. And great game sense there as they avoid the incendiary, but their team has taken quite a beating here. They do have some heals, so they're able to get those health points back up at least a little bit. But Peter Griffin goes down to LFT, who's been holding a very solid angle in the back of the site. It's a 4 versus 5, less than a minute on the clock. And it looks like Valor is going to have some trouble getting this push to work in their favor.
I'm just, looking at it here, what can Valor do? And I will say that first grenade, unfortunately, was a bit of a miss there from Valor. I think that was Woo's grenade that bounced off the wall back to his own feet. Tech9 gets a kill off on Stewie on the stairs. Jims knows he's there, just throws an incendiary to push him out of his corner. But 4 players here on Acer, still on A. I feel like Woo and Jekyll maybe a rotate might have to be called here. What do? Woo getting 2 kills now. Jekyll trying to push up, getting taken off by Ninja Tim. Woo trying to get the refrag. 15 seconds left. Valor can't save. They have to push in. I feel like just ego pushing here is kind of the play. They have 10 seconds. They have to plant or kill everyone. And killing everyone is kind of out of the question here. Looks like Woo's just focusing into getting kills. And he does get taken down there. Acer 4-2 now, heading into the switch round here on Hideout, setting themselves up pretty well.
A little bit of hesitation coming in there from Woo. And the rest of the Valor offense, you could tell that they weren't comfortable, Gravix, but the question is, we did go we went 3-3 into the second half. This time, we're going 4-2. So, Acer have a little bit more momentum here. Could we see this go to a third map?
I think we very well could, especially if Acer ends up taking this first round here. It's going to be very pivotal if they do, because that would leave them 1 point, 2 points away from the victory, 1 point from securing a sudden death at minimum. So, very important play for Acer here. We see them coming out. Valor, we've seen them working on their hideout, but against Acer, it doesn't seem like it's been paying off too well. They've found their footing as well, and they did a phenomenal job on defense. So now we're going to be ready to see them going on offense here, and if their offense is as strong as it was on Arctic, this could spell doom for Valor here, and spell a map 3 for us here.
The pressure is definitely on here for Valor. They are getting droned out here in Garage. A lot of players actually in Garage now. Jekyll very aggressively pushing up. Doesn't take out Ninja Tim, unfortunately. He just misses a few shots there. Really rough for Valor, losing a player immediately, and such an aggressive push. Stewie now going down some health because of a frag, throwing Incendiary. Really early Incendiary there from Valor. I'm not sure if I would have thrown that out if I were them. That's $200 they could have used for something else that Acer can just kind of wait outside for. Jims takes down the Ace. Peter Griffin takes on Tech 9. Double pusher. Peter Griffin looks to push out, but almost gets taken down by Ninja Tim. Looks like Acer trying to get some picks off on the Garage while they can. Jims is kind of stuck here. He does throw on an Incendiary. Will hurt Hotline, but not take him down. 3v3. Valor is up on health, but they're probably going to be rotating over to A. If I had to guess, if I was Acer, I would rotate over to A because they know there's so many players in Garage. But it looks like now their foam's down. Stewie gets a great pick off an LFT. What do you do here if you're Valor, Bob? Like, sorry, if you're Acer, I feel like blowing into A is just their only choice.
Yeah, we're going to have to see a rotation here. Actually, the firepower is mainly on A. But of course, we have the omnipotent spectator view, so Acer don't know that yet. And Ninja Tim, Hotline are both quite low on health here compared to Valor, who has a pretty solid team up. 45 seconds on the clock. And Acer's really just been backed into a corner here. They don't have a whole lot of choices as to what they can do. Half a minute, maybe Ninja Tim can find a sneaky pick here. That is their specialty. Hotline playing close to the A door, but there's a proximity alarm. However, Hotline was able to use that audio cue to bait out Stewie, so it worked out for Acer, but only 15 seconds left on the clock. They've got to get that wall opened up. Peter Griffin waiting on the tables. Hotline opens up the other wall. They're trying to catch Peter Griffin, and they do. And it's now just down to Wu and Hotline, and again, this is, guys, I don't know if you've been watching. This is the third time that Wu has shut down Hotline. It's got to be frustrating at this point.
Wu kind of becoming the clutch god for Valor in these last second scenario 1v1s. Coming out and finding the kills that need to be done to keep Valor in this game.
Say a great play from Acer there. Here, go ahead.
No, you go.
Say a great play from Acer there. I had to talk about one thing that I saw was Peter Griffin hopping up on the table. Hotline actually heard him hop up, which was instrumental in being able to push in and try to take him down. But I feel like Peter Griffin kept it cool and tried to get some hits off when he could.
Although the overall Acer push may not have been the best plan. Garage, I think, was a great starting point. If they had finished out their Garage push, I think the round would have ended way differently. But that rotation to the front entrance, leaving one to go down to the two people who were over there, and then the full rotation to A as well, kind of put Acer on the back foot, especially with low health from those other skirmishes. Didn't necessarily help. The picks from the audio cues definitely almost getting them there, but just wasn't enough to take out Valor's excellent defense there.
I gotta say, a problem that I think I've seen develop from both teams is the eagerness to dump their utility. I think a lot of these pushes, and if they pushed Garage, if you're Acer and you push Garage, you can use some util to clear out the room to route some of your opponents, but unfortunately for Acer, I think they just didn't leave themselves with a lot of options, and we actually see a potential read here. Oh, Hotline finding the kill onto Jekyll. It's an aggressive strategy from Valor, and it did not work out. They were preying on whether or not Acer would be careful enough to check that hatch, and they were. So not a good start for Valor here. I think that's actually also an SMG that's been dropped. So not the best start, but hey, it's a 4 versus 5. Anything can happen.
Looking at it here, I feel like a little too aggressive on Jekyll's part there. It could have worked out, but I just think it's really rough to watch here sometimes with the strategies that are being used. But I think Peter Griffin drops in from storage right there. He dropped in on storage. But unfortunately, he missed a few of his shots and just didn't get it off. Wu does get the kill off on Hotline through the smoke. Acer going for an extremely aggressive push into point. And it pays off there. I think Valor got split up a little too much there. They had, you know, one on hatch, one on garage hatch. They had one on the other point trying to come through connector. I just think they were kind of spread out there, not playing the defense as they could have, as well as they could have.
Yeah, Valor was not set up the best there, letting Acer kind of roll in with a coordinated push and pick everyone off one by one, along with the confusion that Util probably caused, gave Acer that point there. So, kind of what has to happen. Valor now on the back foot, 5-3 Acer, and Econ as well. Valor only has one rifle, 2 SMGs, 2 pistols. Acer at a near full buy. So, it seems that this round is most likely going to Acer here.
Not a great defensive round for Valor. I think it was a pretty sloppy execution. They had some people playing aggressively under the hatch. Peter Griffin dropped to try and get a flank kill, but it wasn't synced up with the rest of the team very well, and ultimately they lost 2 players and just allowed Acer to collapse with that Acer aggression that we know and love. Peter Griffin's been spotted already, and I don't know what's going on here as the ace finds Peter Griffin. Good headshot for Acer. And if you're Valor here, I think you just need to slow down a little bit. They're getting really aggressive with these roams. The ace finding gyms. And we're seeing, I mean, we see Jekyll downstairs as well. LFT getting the foam on the site A wall, but there's only Stewie and Woo on site A, and there's 5 angry Acer players outside looking to open up the wall. The ace finding Jekyll. There's an instant toss. Stewie's going to look to find one. It's up to Stewie and Woo to really bring this round home for their team.
I just think Valor kind of fumbled that round a bit, really. They just, I don't know, man. They roamed a little too far off. They spread themselves out, and Acer could just pick them off one at a time. I think Valor needs to do a bit of a reset with their strategy here and stay more on point. It's just not working out too well. Woo does pick up a kill here. He needs to pick up 3 more. We've seen him pick up quite a few in a row. And Acer is pretty spread out. Does take down the ace. And gets taken out by Hotline. Barely can't get the clutch off. I think Valor kind of letting this slip through their fingers here.
They almost had it, but these spread out defenses are just not working against Acer's coordinated pushes. We saw it in these last 2 rounds. Valor has been mainly spread out. I'm not sure if it's because they don't know where Acer is or if they don't have their specific, like, good spots set. But they weren't ready for Acer to push in, and you need to be, especially against a team like Acer. So, I think overall lack of preparedness, lack of econ a little bit, and a bunch of other compounding factors are kind of letting Acer walk in here, getting their 6th point, now locking in that guaranteed overtime. And it's 6-3, so most likely they will be walking away with 1 more round if they're able to push correctly. This is the area where they did lose their last round to Valor, but if they play it right this time, we could see Acer taking map 2 and us moving on to a round 3.
Yeah, it's a good point there that just a number of Valor mistakes are kind of cascading into free round. I won't say free rounds because they're working for them, but some easier rounds for Acer here. They gotta be working a little bit better here. And again, they're playing very far off site. LFT drops a double. And at this point, just put all 5 people on the same site, but they might not even get the opportunity to do this play because it's now a 2 versus 5.
And I think we're kind of seeing, you know, what Valor was doing on Hideout last season. Like, they just can't function on Hideout, I feel like, almost here on defense. They haven't picked up a round, except for just 1. I just feel like they just don't have the plays down on Hideout right now. Maybe they're just not feeling super comfortable on it. I feel like maybe they need a little more practice on it. Acer, meanwhile, having some good plays down, able to be pretty consistent with their plays. Yeah, and Acer taking Hideout pretty handily, I would say. Only losing 3 rounds to Valor on Hideout. It's really rough, I would say, even morale-wise.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough pill to swallow for Valor. But hey, there's still opportunity on map number 3. Congratulations to Acer, but don't go away because we'll be right back after these short ads. All right, here we are. We're heading into our third map of this Acer versus Valor series. If you're just joining us, first map, Arctic, 7-5 to Valor in an impressive opening. Map number 2 didn't quite go as well for Valor. We were talking about this a little bit in the break, but definitely way too roamer heavy on that Valor defense, and they're gonna need some more practice on that hideout map. But hey, it's the start of the season. There's opportunity for Valor to improve, but right now we're gonna go ahead and get started with our third and final map of the series. We're heading to Dam, and it could really go either way. I mean, we've seen Valor take a map win. We've seen Acer take a map win. Arguably, Plague Doctor, the pendulum is swinging towards Acer a little bit more after that impressive showing on Hideout. But hey, it's Dam. It's a different map. It plays quite differently compared to Hideout. Could we potentially see maybe Valor find their footing here again?
Say one of the newer maps here, obviously it's not new by any stretch of the word,
right,
but one of the newer ones, not going to have it as established here. And I think Valor's going to be pretty strong on defense here on Dam because they are strong on offense as well. They're going to know where Acer's typically going to push in. They hear the sound cues. They know there's someone out on the railing pinging out that back door with LFT and Ace both on that back door. I'm guessing we're going to see a lot of information denial from Valor, trying to make it so that Acer can't get a peek in on the point. I'm not sure what the play is here for Acer, whether they want to blow the wall or just push straight down. I feel like you have to blow the wall, which they do go for. I'm surprised to see no flanker, actually, from Acer.
It looks like they've learned a little bit from Hideout. I think they're going to just have a better chance at pulling out a win if they keep everybody on the site. Now, that might have worked for Hideout, but maybe Dam is the map where it's important to have a roamer. We do see teams, they tend to roam, to try and get some picks. We'll see if that works for Valor or if sticking to the site like glue is the right play. Minute 15 on the clock as Acer have burnt a lot of time here. They're waiting for that incendiary, but they're going to have to move quickly.
Say, Jims is still holding on to an incendiary for Valor as well, so as soon as that plant goes down... Oh, looks like they actually use it. The Acer uses their incendiary. Jims does take out Hotline here. They do still have an incendiary. Looks like Jims is going to be throwing that out. LFT is going to get taken out by that incendiary and doesn't get the plant off either. It is on last tick, but all the Valor players are up, and Acer has to wait out this incendiary to be able to get the plant off. Valor is out of utility, but so is Acer. Tech9 boldly pushing straight up through the smoke here, looking to get a kill if he can. That smoke's going to go down pretty quickly. Ninja Tim gets the plant off lead. Ninja Tim takes out Jims. Peter takes out Ninja Tim. Ace takes out Cat the Shark and Peter before getting taken out. Stewie takes out Tech9 and Wu takes out the Ace, finishing her out the round here. Valor claiming pistol rounds. Well done. Some great utility usage there from Valor, I would say, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that utility coming out from Valor definitely helped them propel, especially with that kill right before the EMP and everything else they were using to try to keep Acer out of that site, delay it a little more. And the way they were kind of sticking to their spots on defense was a very interesting strategy, but it worked out very well for them, playing right on the site, no more spread out defense. I think partially because the sites are very spread out here. Acer may be struggling with that a little bit. We'll see as we continue forward, but we didn't see a flank coming out from Acer, so it looks like they were still trying to do a big push together. It's just that this dam is so huge that it's gonna throw a little different of a wrench strategy than we saw from in Hideout.
I gotta say, I wasn't an overly big fan of how Acer approached the attack on that site. We saw Hotline pushed in, they tossed an incendiary, they tossed a flash. Hotline actually pushed into the incendiary. I think they were going to try and throw off the other team, but it didn't work, and they took themselves out with it. LFT got caught in the incendiary and wasn't able to get the plant off. It was not the best opening for Acer by any means. I do hear on the grapevine that Dam is more of a defense-sided map, but that's all the more reason to find some momentum here on the earlier half of the round. So that way, once you get into rifle territory, you won't have to be as reliant on winning those rifle rounds. But no such luck for Acer. It's going to be a rough third map for them. We'll see if they can find a response here to Valor.
Hey, I'm excited to see what is going to happen here with rounds. We've been seeing a trend here between these two teams, trading points back and forth. No one really gets super high up in economy except for the after the switch, obviously, on the last map. But it's kind of even so far here. During all of these rounds, other than an outlier, I just feel like as long as Acer can keep pushing the advantage here, they have a good wall open already. They can get some good peeks off here as long as they can pick these Valor players off one at a time. Like LFT takes out Cap the Shark, and now they're actually pushing straight in the point. Stewie takes out Ninja Tim as Ace takes out Jims. Tech9 trying to push through. Peter Tiz take down the Ace. Stewie takes out LFT. Now it's just Hotline and Tech9. Hotline pushes through the smoke, takes out Peter Griffin. 2v2 here. Tech9 takes some hits. I feel like Valor needs to play a patient game here now. They have some good, not numbers here, but they have a good advantage here. They need to play time.
And Wu picks up a lot of damage. Stewie finds Tech9 Jr. It's up to Hotline. They find one. Look to make it two, but Stewie with the push out finds the kill onto Hotline to make it a 2-0 game. And you can see Stewie's feeling good about that clutch. But Plague made an excellent call there, Graphics. I mean, Valor, they just had to play the patient game because they had the EMP, and they just needed to wait for Acer to push in to defend there.
Yeah, Valor did a great job of keeping themselves patient throughout that entire round, not just necessarily in that back half 2v2, but we saw them start out with a spread defense, which is something that we touched on a little bit, saying that the spread defense wasn't there in the last round. It was this time. but they ended up converging onto B and being patient and not peeking and just waiting for Acer to kind of come in there on that big converge, and it ended up working out in their favor. Lots of picks going down into the 2v2, but Valor overall just able to hold that position, stay patient, and work their way through, gets the 1, and able to come out on top in the 1v1 as well. Just great defense by Valor. I think this we could see going to their favor, but that grapevine of the defensive half, I'm curious to see how Acer's going to handle it. Round 3, though, coming in.
Valor going for some distant roams again. I hope it works out for them. I will say these points, they're so big. I feel like you can almost roam inside the points, and that's almost an overextension there. These mid-floor points on Dam are giant. I feel like going too far out is going to be maybe a bit of a death sentence. Jims is in the bathroom, might be able to get a good flank off, but a lot of teams know there is going to be someone in the bathroom. He doesn't get droned out, but now all 5 Acer players immediately in. Wu nearly gets wall banged out immediately. Acer has a good amount of utility here to claim the point, but Valor, again, they can play the patient game. LFT going for flank watch there. Hotline also checks flank. Gets taken out there by Jims as they don't check it enough. LFT is still up with EMP. Trying to get anything off he can. There is a static down as Peter Griffin tries to get the lean and take out that planter. We do have the Ace trying to flank here on Jims. A great pick there by Jims on Hotline, I would say. Might swing the tide here.
You wonder what the morale is looking like for Acers. They checked the flank, but just not enough, as Plague pointed out, and Jims was able to find Hotline, drop one of those core Acer players, and it's a blow to their team. Valor gonna look to capitalize off of that as Cap the Shark finds the kill on the Ace. Tech9 Jr. looking to get that EMP planted. There's the frag toss, and it's an S tier 1 nonetheless. And it's up to Ninja Tim. Wu is gonna find that kill. It's a hat trick for Valor, Gravix, and if I wonder, I'm not sure who the home team was off the top of my head with this matchup.
Valor.
It was Valor. Okay, so Valor probably picked the first map, and Acer took them to hideout because right now it's definitely the Valor team that we're used to.
Valor definitely very comfortable here in Dam. They have their strategies. We've seen variations on defense. We saw them converge this time. Nice and simple, very compact defense that definitely worked. We saw their roam work wonders getting that kill. We talked about it a bunch during the game. That roam, that flank wasn't checked enough by Acer, and it ended up sort of devastating them, taking down their numbers for their usual coordinated push. And the angles, as soon as they opened up the wall, Valor was there, ready to go, gets a few picks. There's your round, and now they're on top on Econ. Everybody with some great util. Valor has great util. Acer as well with a great economy. So it could be just down to skill here.
We did have Stewie go down on a very unfortunate peek there, trying to peek out security. I feel like it's a bit of a tired push sometimes from some of the teams. I feel like maybe it should be phased out sometimes. People are going to be watching that constantly, but unfortunately just did not work out for Valor. Now immediately down a player. Acer can push this advantage. Looks like they are going to be pushing straight up to B for all of the Valor players here on B. It's going to be an all-out brawl here, I would say. As all of the players are inside, no one up on Hash. They're fully committing to this. Looks like Acer is going to be holding down a flank watch, thankfully. I'd be, shocked if they didn't.
Valor, they'll play so strategically, and then they'll push somebody out at the beginning of the round and immediately get them picked. It doesn't make sense to me. S-tier frag, though, from Jims, as Valor bouncing back a little bit here. Acer trying the B push. This is a little bit off meta. You don't often see a push on the B. It's usually A. But it didn't work out for Acer. I'm wondering if we are going to see that switch up, though. As Tech9, LFT, Ninja Tim all making their way over to site A. The door blocker's out. Jims has 100% called that out to their team, and they find Ninja Tim along with that. It's now a 4 versus 3. LFT and Tech9 outside of Site A. Hotline still has a presence outside of B. Here comes the push from LFT. They manage to find 1, looking to make it 2. But a Static and an Incendiary are going to cut off their rotation. Tech9 Jr. looking to provide support. They will find Cap the Shark, but Hotline went down to Peter Griffin. And it's now a 2 versus 2 with that EMP planted. Valor going to look to take out Tech9, who almost goes down, but LFT will find the kill onto Peter Griffin, and it's up to Woo to get the 1v2. There's 1. Can they make it 2? Going once, going twice, and they find it again! They can't keep getting away with this, but they somehow do. And Woo, again, put into a 1v2 clutch scenario, and they find it, and they completely shake it off. They look very nonchalant right now. But what an incredible clutch again by Woo.
Woo, the clutch god for Valor this game. He is going off in these 1v2s. We've seen it at least once in every map, if not twice. He's doing a phenomenal job. Revisiting that 2v2 though, I want to look at the difference of playstyle from that first 2v2 we saw in the same area compared to the newest one. We saw a lot more franticness to that one. It was a lot less patient. Valor still coming out on top, but we saw Woo on 1 HP there. Possibly a little bit of a difference from both rounds, or the skirmishes beforehand, I should say. But overall, a very different kind of style to that 2v2 from Valor, which is very interesting to see how they can kind of flip on a dime when they need to either be patient or be aggressive and play those 2v2s and keep them in their control.
100%. It's just so fun to watch these teams play, and Valor here kind of running away with it. You have to wonder how it's going over there for Acer. I will say, if Valor does lose a round, they're going to be down in the dumps economy-wise. They're full buying here after losing multiple players. Meanwhile, Acer has that income, but they're not doing too well either. It's kind of both teams kind of walking a tightrope here, but Valor, especially, if they can just keep getting rounds off, it'll work out. But if they lose it, it might snowball a little bit.
Yeah, but they might be playing a little risky with their economy, but so far it's working out for them, as they've had an incredibly solid defensive half. Jims opens up with a pick on the ace, and Acer are just struggling to find some pace here. Hotline does find Peter Griffin, which is a good start, or a good response for Acer. We'll see if they can manage to keep that momentum up, as Jims almost finds Hotline again on the exact same angle. Frag is tossed. Tech9 Jr. on the hunt. Jims is looking for that kill. Tech9 will go down, as Jims is not looking to be taken out right now.
A 2K here from Jims, looking to pick up a third. A 4K from Jims to claim the round. Valor 5-0 against Acer here. A bit of an upset here. Oh my goodness.
It's definitely an upset from last match. Jims going crazy with the roam. Gets the insane 4K. Starts off with that kill against Ace on the roam and just kind of spirals. Able to dodge the shots from Tech9. Able to dodge the util, just almost there to kind of trap him. But he did a phenomenal job of pushing there. And Acer, we're not seeing the same speed from them on the offense. We're seeing them try to get these coordinated pushes. Obviously, we saw a few roamers there a little bit, but they immediately got caught out and caught. And Acer just not able to find a hole, an opening in the Valor defense here to get in and even get a plan. I don't even think we've seen them get the EMP down once. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Valor has just done a great job shutting down, knowing this map a lot more than Acer, and doing a great job. We're seeing a 5-0 sweep. Could be not even a 5-1 yet. Going on to round 6. Last round of the half. If Valor takes this, they're kind of a shoo-in to take the rest of the match.
Oh, could Gravix be speaking too soon? We'll find out soon enough. Anything can happen when your back's against the wall like this. Certainly possible for Acer. They're a team that has been dominant for many, many seasons of VRML, but recently they've undergone some serious roster changes. This current lineup is competitive, but they are just having problems against an impeccable Valor defense so far. We'll see if they can keep that up. It's the halftime round, and it's Acer's last chance to put a point, at least 1 point, on the board before they go to defense.
Valor really needs to keep up this momentum. I feel like they need to not overcommit. They need to not get overconfident here. I think a lot of times some teams struggle with, they're 5-0. They need to not overcommit. They just threw out, I think, 2 bits of utility there without the plant even being down. They only have 2 incendiaries and a smoke here. So Acer can just wait it out pretty much. They don't have a lot of time here. EMP is down, but not actually planted. But Valor only has a single incendiary and a smoke now. EMP is going down. That incendiary, actually a smoke going out, now incendiary going out. But Valor kind of misplaying with that utility. Now they have no offensive. They can't defend the plant without actually going up and shooting them themselves.
That EMP isolated with that incendiary. Now the smoke dissipates as well. It's going to give Acer the opportunity to push in here. There's another incendiary toss. Good pacing with the utility. Good watch from Hotline as they find 2. But Jims will catch that refrag. However, it was enough time for Tech9 to plant that EMP. This could be the round that Acer needs. We don't see any kind of utility from Valor that they can use to push out. And so it's going to be extra challenging for them. Cat the Shark finds one. Their refrag. Jims does not find one. Ninja Tim with the double. Gravix, I think he might have put the caster's curse on them because Acer find 1 round on offense. And it could be the 1 round that they need.
Acer now has that round. Unfortunately, I may have placed a caster's curse on them, not intentionally. But still, we saw Acer just get around. We could see Valor just get around as well. It's very doable if they know the map more. It seems Acer was a little uncomfortable in the start. I'm very curious to see how they'll take this defense now, as there are plenty of ways to go with this. Will we see a roamer? Will we see a full site stick? Will we see a split defense? And I'm also curious to see how Valor will push. I'm curious if we'll see them split push. I'm curious if we'll see them converge onto one site from all angles. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes, but I think it's definitely doable for both teams here. Obviously, Valor with a very large lead, but in a defensive-sided map like we see in Dam, very possible for Acer to make a comeback.
This is just, really a up and down here, back and forth between these teams. I can't in good faith make a prediction right now. We do have 5 from Valor, 1 from Acer, but we've seen teams turn it around from worse. I'm curious to see how it's going to work out here. The defense from Acer is going to be pretty well set up here, especially on pistol round. They're pretty well set up to claim at least a couple rounds. I think Valor needs to not fall into a pitfall that I've seen them fall into before, which is, nickel and diming their way to a loss. Losing a round, then trying to full buy, then losing that round because they don't get it off and just kind of not able to get rifles. They're up 4 here. Having a save round if they do lose is going to be a really important thing to do, I feel. Swallowing your pride, being willing to not full buy for one. Looks like Jin's going for a very early plant here. Does almost get incendiaried out. Claims 2 pieces of util off of Acer, actually, which is going to be very good for them.
Utility toss says Sui will find Ninja Tim. And I was going to say, Peter Griffin was on the flank and they caught a kill. Jim's looking to get that EMP planted. Cat the Shark looking to support their teammate. LFT goes down. And it's now a 2 versus 3. Jims, Woo, and Cat the Shark against Hotline and Tech9. We'll see if the Acer duo can keep their team in the game. Tech9 looking for the push, but they go down. It's up to Hotline in the 1v3 to prevent the 6-1. It does not happen. And Valor have match points. What a solid round for them here, Gravix. They are now just 1 round away from doing the unthinkable and giving Acer's first game of the season, making that a loss. That would be crazy.
That would be unprecedented for a dominating team like Acer to go into Season 4 and take an L on the first game of the season, not to mention on the first day of Season 4. Matchups were announced less than 12 hours ago, and we're already seeing one of a huge upset, one of the biggest updates in VRML, or one of the big upsets in VRML history. This could be crazy to see. A great push from Valor on that last round. A little shaky, but Jim with the EMP baiting out that util. We've seen it a lot this game, haven't necessarily touched on it, but the baiting out Acer their first point, and it's kind of what got Valor their momentum to be able to play into that point and get them up to that 6-1. Let's see if they can capitalize, keep it going, and take the game.
It's been good for Valor to avoid the big utility dump where the teams are just kind of canceling out each other by throwing insins and frags on top of each other. And they've been able to bait out enough util to where they can consistently set up a good offense here. 2 minutes on the clock as Hotline finds Wu, but Peter Griffin will take out LFT. Tech9 finding kill on to Peter Griffin. Minute 55 on the clock as we're into a 3 versus 4. Jims is looking to get aggressive and push in. They may get caught. Sui finding Tech9. Jims pushes deep into the site. They find Hotline. It's now just up to Ninja Tim and the Ace. Ninja Tim goes down. It's up to the Ace in a 1v3. Can they clutch this up for Acer? No, they can't do it, and it's a Valor win against Acer. They're shutting down Acer, not giving them the opportunity to say, this is our comeback season. Valor pulls it off and makes it a win against Acer.
Oh my gosh.
This is unprecedented in the VRML. I don't think we've ever seen Acer go down game 1, and we're seeing it right here, Season 4. I think this sets the precedent for Season 4. History will be made.
I mean, where do you go from here? We've seen Acer find a solid. They had a good map too, but I mean they're completely out of the lobby right now. You can definitely tell that loss stung. But hey, I thought going into this season Valor was going to be a solid team, and they did not disappoint here. Incredible performance on Arctic, incredible performance here on Dam. Hideout was shaky for their team. Their defense on Hideout will need some serious work, but they're gonna be riding the high off of this one, I can imagine. An incredibly solid game all around. Before we wrap up, we'll start with you, Plague. What are your thoughts here?
Oh my gosh, I can barely put it into words here. First match, the second casted match of the entire season. It was looking rough for Valor there on Hideout, but getting those 2 maps, and especially 7-1ing Acer here, it's going to be so rough for Acer to, get morale here, and such a morale boost for Valor. I feel like some people around the community maybe underestimate Valor just a little bit, but this is going to really put them on top, I would say. Just a really, surprising overall, I would say, how much they won on Dam. Gravix, what are your thoughts on that, especially that last round?
The way they played that Dam was impeccable. Valor kept composure. They didn't play into the util dumps except for the one round that gave Acer the win. Overall, playing phenomenally. If Valor can clean up their Hideout game, that could be putting them on top. If they're able to play their Hideout just a little bit better, it could put them leagues above anybody else. I mean, we just saw them take out Acer. That's insane. A year ago, that would have been the craziest upset ever.
Yeah, but how times certainly change, and how you can see a team like Valor that puts in that hard work. They repeatedly scrim, they practice. It paid off, especially today as they pull out their second win in a row against Acer. This was a grudge match between these two teams, and Valor did it again. Incredible performance all around by these teams. But we do want to thank Plague Doctor and Gravix for joining us here. Plague Doctor, first official cast outside of the Casters versus Mod Games. So welcome, Plague. Happy to have you on board here. Gravix, as always, a pleasure with you on the analyst desk. Of course, we also do want to thank our sponsors, Triangle Factory, the developers of Breachers, for giving us the incredible game that this is. And I love casting it. They've helped us out in the past with prize pools. They've given us some exclusive in-game cosmetics. You can buy a VRML gun skin in Breachers for 100 credits right now. So big thank you to Triangle Factory. Always wonderful to see what they're doing with the future of Breachers. And of course, we do want to thank HyperX. Right now, I'm wearing a HyperX headset, and it's great. You know why? Because I don't get the cord dragged out of my headset every time I go to turn my head. It's very, very nice to have. And I got a HyperX mousepad, keyboard. I'm a pretty big HyperX fan, so big thank you to them for their continued support of VRML, providing oftentimes supplies for our prize pool and then our casters as well. So tremendous thank you to HyperX for all they've helped us out with. But that is going to do it for this Breachers VRML game. I hope you all have enjoyed this series as much as I have. A great way to start off the season. Keep your eyes peeled tomorrow. We might have something special dropping on the channel for you. But in any case, that's going to do it for us here. We'll catch you all in the very next cast. Have a fantastic rest of your night, everybody.
Breachers VRML is brought to you by Helga, the esports manager, Triangle Factory. Thanks for watching VRML.